so that I can get time to iron the clothes and also do another video for edutainment for us. Remember, I'm struggling on that channel to fill the watch hours, and I'm seeing the effort of ensuring that every day the graph does not go below the other is working. Thank you so much for your support, and subscribe to the channel once you are on the platform. Like the video and follow up our videos. So, Gachagua did drop a lot of bombs yesterday. He dropped bombs on narcotics, on housing, on Raila Odinga, and surprisingly, when people thought that he would be attacking Matiang, he never did so. Now, I heard from Gladys Wanga. Gladys Wanga came up to speak for ODM while talking about the issue of people not speculating about the illness or the state of affairs of Raila Odinga. And she came up saying that some people are thinking that, or rather wishing a bad situation for Raila Odinga instead of praying for him. And he's just out of the country, not in Europe or elsewhere, on, I don't know, whatever it is. From Lequini's analysis, Lequini has said that it's possible that Raila Odinga is in Dubai for treatment, and he has compared the seats of the Dubai seats in Kent's King Hospital College at the same time with the seats which were shown in a video by somebody. Kenyans. I hope their concern is actually genuine about Raila Odinga. Anyway, sometimes we don't wish for somebody death, but I don't know why in Kenya people cloud chase with illness. But at old age, I expect that even our parents at old age, they may be sick once in a while. And when you have money, you also just need medical checkup. So the speculations of losing the voice and all that, and Sudi, I don't know where they're coming from, but it's so funny with a lot of Kenyans coming up with so many theories, I don't know, for whatever reason. And others are saying that it's ODM that did this so that they can actually see on the ground what will happen. Now, I don't know why ODM should have come up and said that it's Kalonzo Musyoka or Wiper and Gashagua's team that are speculating about Raila Odinga's health. How true is this? You know, I'm trying to think about it, and I'm not so sure about that. Because why would a party begin to speculate the illness of somebody? Wabi Sabi, I believe you are new here. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm from Kenya. That is why I'm talking about Kenyan politics, though I talk about politics from so many countries. I even was planning to talk about Botswana and Malawi politics, searching onto it maybe tomorrow and see what I'll do. So what about you, Wabi-Sabi? Where are you from? Are you from India? From the picture, I possibly suspect you are from India. Welcome here, Namaste. Thank you so much for showing up in the house. Big up to you. And thank you so much for your support. Oh, Philippines. All right. Welcome, welcome. I don't know whether you still use hola or how do you greet in Philippine. I've been having some people from Mexico and they say hola. From India, they say wamaste. And from Turkey, they say murhaba, sunasin. Very glad to have it. I'm doing very well. How about you? I hope you're doing well too. Philippine last year in music festival, Kenya Music Festival, I saw a group that danced. They did a dance from Philippine, and it was a very great dance. I really honor the culture of the Asian people generally. Indonesia also, I saw somebody here the other day, and I really appreciate your presence. Glad to have you here as I go down in the political analysis. Yeah. So I was actually asking some question about why a different party would come up to, are you in studying field? Of course, I've been doing a postgraduate degree in literature, but I also love a lot of cultural aspects anyway, to do with the dances and generally such things. Studying, that is postgraduate, of course, literature, and I'm almost finishing and graduating soon. Maybe early next year I'll be graduating with a master's in literature. All right, so what about you? You seem to be also studying or something? All right, so let's get to our Kenyan politics. So in Kenyan politics, hot under fire. Wabi-Sabi has completed Philippines MBBS. BBS is a master's in what? Business or BBS? BBS, I'm trying to check on what that means. Business or what is BBS? Anyway, maybe I'll get to check on that to see how it is. Maybe where are you working then currently with having completed that? Because we are looking for opportunities too. With a master's in literature, I look forward to maybe beginning part-time lecturing as I study for the PhD in something. Oh, it's a course for becoming a doctor. All right. Oh, so you're in the field of medicine? That is one of the lucrative areas currently. I even saw some scholarship by which company, I'm not so sure, sponsoring people from they call it sub-Saharan countries to go and have postgraduate whatever. All right, so that's great. Medicine, we really need a lot of people in medicine because illnesses are always subverting people all over the places. As for me, I did education undergraduate, then masters. I've done a master's in literature, but PhD I'll see what to do because I'm seeing some opportunity in other areas. I don't know whether they'll accept, but I'll see what to do. All right, so into Kenyan politics, guys, you actually see a lot of war that does not really help us as Kenyans because it's neither there nor there. The focus on a politician being sick and being actually made to balloon into something big, I don't understand the benefit of anybody in that. But currently, as they talk about Raila Odinga and update us, and then they tell us that there is fake news over it. And on the same thing, they say the Raila Odinga has left the country, gone to, they said not Europe, but somewhere. Now, Lequin, of course, was doing an analysis indicating that he might be in Dubai, possibly the Kingston College Hospital for treatment. I don't know. But let's spare that because after all, as they were saying the speculation. Luckily, Gachagua was asked to go for an interview, and during the live interview, he said something on this. I don't know whether I'll get the specific spot where he spoke about that. Let me just check.
Some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. That con game by William Ruto is over. Kenyans are wise and equal greater responsibility to be very active and be very aggressive.
Let me check. Which minute was this?
Body. I said, Mr. President, listening to the people, and God has gifted me with figurative language as a student of it. For him to address any meeting, like in the Mount Kenya region, he spent. Now that I admit I made a great mistake, installations of the country, it's a criminal enterprise. State House is why I speak now. I have been speaking, and anything I have to say, in fact, I feel very relieved I'm not part of that government. I don't know how our police stations, out of 40, the fact that they made him president. And when we made him, we had respected you, we had given you our vote, we had trusted you. You betrayed us. He was thoroughly intimidated, thoroughly intimidated. William Ruto fears it. Rigathi Gachagua wants to be president of Kenya. Hence, there can be no conflict whatsoever between Rigathi Gachagua and President Uhuru Kenyatta. What would be the source of the conflict? One is what has been decided. And if you decide to change, I'm saying, oh, Uhuru has come, the mountain come. If we had our own political party, Ruto would not shortchange us. Yes, Fred Matiang'i is a good guy. He worked well with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and he made significant contribution to this country. And him from the US had several private meetings with him, and he expressed his desire to join us so that we create the change that we desire for this country. And he expressed his interest to serve as president if we can support him, and we welcomed him, and we had good discussion, and I believe he still remains very committed to that cause. And when he came, he found we had already started the opposition, and we were getting on, and we did brief him where we had reached, and we did to defeat William Ruto, we need to work around the clock. And by the time he came, we had already agreed on a formula. Martha Karua, J.B. Mutuli, Mithika Linturi, and I had been allocated to deal with the Mount Kenya region in terms of making sure we solidify the nation and we chase Ruto and Raila from the region, which we have done successfully.
All right. So
across the coast region, then to the people, and they have made a decision. I have an equal greater responsibility to be very active and be very aggressive. Kitendawili. Today they are calling each other brothers. When people were campaigning him was over. We had wanted him to be president for 10, and sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah? Nana kona? Wewe? Uko na simu? Sawa, unatoka ngapi? Nataka tia. Sawa. All right, so of course, we saw Gachagua. Let me get firewood for the kids here. 0729 46 45 28. Tuenda haraka haraka niwape. I was doing a video here. Yeah, so of course when you look at the politics of Rigathi Gachagua, Rigathi Gachagua was asked a question on whether he was supporting the aspect of illness or maybe having dropped any video on the same. And he came up to clarify that he said he wouldn't wish anything for him. And it's not part of his discussion, you know. Yeah, because currently the government was trying, do I say even the government or ODM is so ODM was trying to indicate that possibly Rigathi Gachagua and his team are maybe glad to have him unwell or maybe give some information about his sickness. So he was rejecting that message. And I was just checking on the video before maybe I got clients to coming for the firewood. So let me go back and check on the receipt. And once I'm able to get it, I'll be showing you on the video to indicate what he said within his videos. Yeah? Let me just rush around and go get to show you about it. Yeah, so there were a lot of bombshells being dropped yesterday by Rigathi Gachagua on different matters. including housing, the promises. Hello. Yeah, including the housing and also so many other aspects. And so let's just check on one of them and see what is coming up. Yeah, so one of the aspects that I wanted to show is the video in which Rigathi Gachagua was actually proving. Let me wipe my camera. You know, sometimes when you're serving, you touch or the phone and the camera is messed up. I need to work on this camera again. There is something I'm seeing, not very clear. Yeah, so here it is. I don't know why I'm not getting that minute very fast.
My resume in terms of making presidents. You know, campaigning is not, it's not a church affair. It's not a wedding.
Derek Kagongi, what are you saying? I'm very fine, Derek.
And the things that were said then dropped immediately.
Derek said Kalonzo ni virus. Ama regarding your bacteria. Oh my God, you are making me laugh.
It was very many of us, and that is why I take a very active role. Likes of Jubilee being part of the, the opposition. They said to the people I told President Uhuru Kenyatta has won. Because
Derek Gongi, you are so funny. Why are you saying this?
The cause of all their problems. People are struggling. And God has gifted me with, you talk about people who went to church who are paid. You know, people of Kenya. What happened now is that the taxes increased from people.
Why am I not getting this exact minute? My goodness. Anyway, I think some of you
children. Then we cannot sell our tea.
Derek Gagungi is saying that that is what he said yesterday, today. Oh, while at Wamuyu, within that video.
Mr. President, and the deals they are doing together, you hated us because you cheated us.
I think this part of the video is not showing me that specific part, but I heard it clearly when Rigathi Gachagua said that he had nothing, he was not even aware about anything to do with the sickness of Raila Odinga, and he did not take interest in him anyway. He said also that after all, even if Raila was sick, he could have to come out and begin activities, then people will know. He didn't have to come up and clarify that he was not sick or his party to do that. So Derek Gongi is reminding me about the tour from Wamuyu to Machakos. Yeah, they were at Wamuyu. I've ever been at Wamuyu actually. And he's reminding me about that tour that happened today. And in the rally, there was these funny statements that are coming up. Let me just look for that video too, because I was watching it before I went to do some other activity. And so I'm so happy Derek Gagongi here has reminded me about that Machakos rally, whereby Rigathi was actually throwing more bombshell. Let me just check. When I go out, then I lose the network on the computer. I don't know what I'll do to check, because again, when I flip the phone, I may not be able to turn the camera, but no problem. I just have to sacrifice any of them. So he has just reminded me of the Machakos rally, whereby Raila, not Raila, what am I saying, Raila? Whereby Rigathi Gachagua said that he is the bacteria, while Kalonzo is the virus. Okay, that's very funny. Once I turn the camera, I don't know, it disappears. That part of the the phone disappears, but no problem. I'll be checking on the computer, because sometimes it's just what happens. Yeah, so the phone should connect. Let me just connect. I don't know why the camera is behaving like this. The camera is behaving in a funny way. But I'm planning to also buy something else very soon. And yeah, let's just check on the news here. Rigathi Gachagua dropping the bomb at Wamuyu.
Wamuyu oi. Waito muyaseo. Muyaseo ege. Muyaile museo.
You got it. Thank you, baby.
Hapa ndio Wamonyo. Kwa Mulu Mutisia. Nyumbani kwa huyu mheshimiwa Mawadhe. Hii mtu alipotelea Nairobi. Anakujanga nyumbani ya kujangi. Anakujanga. Hapa ni kwa gavana wa Vinya. Na Seneta Kavindu. Hii ndio gome ya kisiasa ya Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Hapa Wamonyo. Sasa mnajua tu ya Monyo mimi ni mtu ya ground. Ya kusikiza ground. Sasa hapa Wamonyo mnasemaje? Ate mnasemaje? Ate mnasemaje? Harambee. Wewe Ruto. Wewe Kasongo. Wewe Kaongo. Wewe Zakayo. Wewe mwizi. Wewe muwaji. Kasongo hadi asiende. Kasongo hadi asiende. Wahitaji maendeleo. Ati ni watu ya kuombaomba. Ni aibu si aibu. Mutarekebisha. Kabisa. Mimi nataka kuhakikishia nyinyi. Muandikishe kura. Mutaandikisha. Mimi naomba nyinyi Wakamba mufikishe 4.5 million.
All right, so you see that the demand on registration has come just after the other day. Ruto and Jalango, they were mocking the Gen Zs, that they make a lot of noise. They call themselves tribalist, leaderless, yet they don't have registration. So I hope that the young people will actually be going in and seeking registration, because this is one of the things that leaders have to insist, or else they'll be campaigning, but at the end of the day, it will be like Raila's moments, whereby campaigns go on and all that has been happening, but it comes to voting, people forget about elections because they don't have the rightful tools, all right? And they should also insist and remind the Kenyans not to disillusion. They reached a time, I think it's the former election, so many people boycotted voting, because that is what Raila had been telling people, boycott from voting, boycott, until it became now a culture. People did not see the sense of voting. So one of the things that the leaders have to insist on is to have people registering for voting process and at the same time going to vote. Because there is one thing about registration and there is another thing about going to vote. When people say that, in Kenya, even when we vote, that is not what determines leadership, some of them don't go to the polling stations to vote. And therefore, that disillusionment leads to the selection of wrong leaders from the grassroots to the top. So I hope that that's something else that will have to be insisted, because Kenyans have been cheated before, and therefore they feel they don't have even to vote. And that is why it will be a very big problem to convince them to vote. Now, there is also something else that is being discussed, especially the visitation of 10,000 people to the State House. And remember, the ID cards are being used somehow. You know, if this is going to happen from now up to election time, my people, can you imagine how many people will have given away their IDs already? I'm just imagining. The people from Kisii went, the people from Kiambu went, the people from, I don't know, Murang'a went, the young people, that is the hustlers went, the women went, and if these teachers went, so if this trend continues, I'm just imagining, by 2027, how many IDs will have been directly or indirectly misused? You know, that's my imagination. You may have another thought, but that's my imagination, right? All right, so let's proceed on with this.
Yeah? Mutaniita. Mimi pale mlimani najaza milioni 8. Sasa milioni 8 tukiongea mambo imeisha hajaisha. Sasa nyinyi msituangushe. Jenzi mpo? Nyinyi ndio dawa ya Kasongo. Lakini bila kura hamwezi kupiga Kasongo. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba nyinyi mchukue kura. Sasa tumemaliza mambo ya Kenya. Acha tuongee mambo ya familia. Hi cousins. Hi cousins. Hi cousins. Hi Makuzo. Tuongee mambo ya family. Tuongee mambo ya family. Si shida ikiwa mingi. Adui anatuvamia. Si familia anarudi pamoja. Wanajifungia kwa nyumba. Sasa mimi nimetafuta Kuzo hapa. Tupange mambo yetu, iko makosa. Makazi ni waongee wasiongee. Wapendane wasipendane. Wachana na
Oh my God.
Wachana na familia yetu wewe. These are family matters. Don't disturb my cousin.
He said achana na familia yetu.
Mimi kawaya unatuma nani atakumtafuta wewe Ruto wachana. Wachana na mambo ya familia. Songo. Kuingia hapa Ukambani hapa niza kupigia juu ya miti wewe. Sindio? Huyu mama Kavindu senator, mimi namheshimu sana. Huyu mama siku Ruto alikuwa ananifukuza. Kalonzo askari yake hapa mbunge. Wangapi wanasema atatafuta na nani? Bana Kalonzo wako juu sana. Kalonzo hasileta nyinyi. Mtafuta uongozi mpate kumpatia askari ya kutosha. Watu ya mara mumeamua. Harambe. Harambe. Mwisho nikimalizia. Huyu William Ruto ametuumiza na mambo ya madawa ya kulevya na mihadarati. Katika baraza la mawaziri amechagua maminista wawili ambaye ni wanaguzi ya madawa ya kulevya. Juzi hapo airport watu wamepatikana wale wanatembea na waziri wake ambaye ndio wanauza madawa ya kulevya ya cocaine. William Ruto tunakuambia kama unapenda watoto ya Kenya, hata kama umewapiga risasi, huyu waziri wako ambaye anauza madawa ya kulevya umtimue kutoka baraza la mawaziri. Siko namna hiyo. Harambe. Harambe. Hi cousin. Hi cousin. Sasa mtakuja kutembea Wamonyoro? Mtakuja siku gani? Ni William Samoei Ruto. Wambe eto wa mutiambanyi wa bakito. Tomulilgene. Alanje atano ngogo matabya madano alanje.
Oh my God. Of course, now people talk about tribalism. You know, I listened to Gladys Wanga. Gladys Wanga was saying that while Raila Odinga is a nationalist, Gachagua is a tribalist. He was also saying that, she was also saying that Rigathi is a divider, while Raila Odinga is a uniter. And I was like, you people, come on, uniter? He unites himself with to personal interest, because of course maybe we may say that it saved Kenya from more hayway and fiasco, but the reality is that at the end of the day we suffer a lot when these people go and after elections they come together and there is no opposition to actually check on the government's aspect. We suffer because at the end of the day these people begin stealing without actually having any checks. And we see people like Junet defending the government, Wanga defending the government, and at the end of the day, we do not get what we want, right? And of course, I saw some daybreak discussion today, and there were so many questions that the news anchor was asking to the ODM members, and why they have changed. Like they are speaking soft about the government when they are supposed to go hard on it after the moment of, what we call broad-based government. Because broad-based government was supposed to come with conditions whereby they were supposed to continue checking on the government while at the same time keeping peace. But then they didn't have to go there, and then they lead, like they are controlled by their affairs and stomachs to do what they had to do, Anyway, Gachagua had a lot of answers to many things yesterday. And of course, let me just play some here quickly as we go through and analyze. Yeah, let's play this.
Welcome, Rigathi Gachagua. We start with, campaigning is not, it's not like Odinga. Then they came and patched up and they worked together. Look at William Ruto. He called Raila all sorts of names, Muganga, Nini, Kitendawili. Today they are calling each other brothers. When people are campaigning and they use words here and there against each other, it's part of the game. There's nothing really personal. Yeah. You say President
All right, let me ask.
To you during the campaign period, and
let me ask something here. Gachagua has just said that it's a game. When you are campaigning and using the names, it's a game. So, guys, I want you to be open-minded and tell me something. Do you think he's also playing a game by calling people cousins and saying that these are family matters when he's campaigning with Kalonzo Musyoka? Let me know, because he said that to Dennis Aseto yesterday. Oh my God.
Are you not your own man to stand on what you believe in, to give direction as Rigathi Gachagua, and not one Rigathi Gachagua who can be influenced by another politician? I was not duped alone. All of us were duped. He was voted in by 7.2 million votes. I was just one of them. What about the other 7.1999? They were all duped. So it cannot just be Rigathi Gachagua who was duped alone. It was very many of us. And that is why many of us, plus others, are looking for an opportunity to have a remedy to that situation.
All right. So again, Rigathi Gachagua came up to say that they are looking for a remedy. And I saw a discussion somewhere, people asking, everybody else is just looking for a way to push Ruto out of government. Does it mean that their agenda is just to push him out, or they have anything about what they'll do to Kenyans? That is a question that was asked. Maybe this should be something that, we have to keep asking every politician who is coming before us to tell us something about the past or the current, right? Yeah, just for voter information or maybe enlightenment. No strings attached. This is something that is necessary. Anyway, let's proceed.
We were duped, we were conned, and we need who are forcing us. They don't want to listen to anything else. The other day I was in Nyandarua, in a place called Meharati. People have gone to meet before, and before that they asked me to talk about potatoes, the storage facilities, roads, water, schools. The last time I was there, I tried to talk about water, about schools, about potatoes. They are not interested. They say, tell us about one term. So I want to tell William Ruto, why we are unable to talk about anything else in public meetings is because the people don't want to discuss anything else. They want to discuss one term. That has gone well with the people of Kenya.
Hey, Gachagua is being corny here using the literature, all the literature he knows. So he was being asked why he always talks about one term instead of talking agenda. And he comes here says that citizens want to listen to that. They don't want to listen to agenda, as Ruto has been saying, that the opposition doesn't have an agenda. Their key agenda is to have him out. Is this a mistake we as citizens are doing? Because we seem to be pushing these people to actually just kick out Ruto and not actually putting them to the task of telling us what they'll do. Anyway, though at the end of the interview, he was asked what he will plan to do for the Kenyans, and he said one thing that he will be sure to wipe away is housing project. And I was just asking, if he pushes it away, then what? What about our money? Will it be returned? Because personally, I'm a civil servant and there is deduction done monthly. And I don't understand, because in my own capacity, I may build a house that I need. If I want a one-room house, that is my problem. I want two-room house, that's my problem. And I can build based on capacity of what I have. Someone shouldn't be trying to build a house somewhere using my money, and there is no clear plan about whether I'll have that house or not, you know. So he said something about that, and I wish when he is called for interviews, people should keep asking for what else he will do for the Kenya, because when they go to rallies, what people want to hear is one term. But personally, at my level, I would want to hear what will they do for us, and I hope they'll not be empty promises. Kupanga, kutenga, na kutotenda. I don't wish for such a situation again. So let's check on something else he said and analyze it, because that's what I do here. I do check into what they said.
I was in charge of tea reforms and things were going on very well. A single decision by William Ruto to do business with the rebel movement in Sudan, the RSF of Hemeti, who is a business partner of William Ruto. The government of Sudan made a decision to ban the importation of Kenyan tea. As a result of that ban, we have not been able to sell our tea in good prices. What is the result? The prices of tea have gone down. Farmers across the country, including his home in Kericho and Bomet, where he comes from, his kinsmen, they have been arms. And it's a simple personal decision that because he wants to deal with the gold, he has appointed ministers who are peddling drugs. They are sitting in his cabinet.
All right, so that was another discussion that was presented, and I've ever heard this again from Gachagua saying the discussion surrounding tea was going very well before Hemedi was involved in business and everything went down. And at first I used to think that this would lead to the arrest of Gachagua, only that the president kept quiet, and then that proves that there is some reality in this, or truthfulness in this. However, what is the solution? Maybe what would Raila, not Raila, but Gachagua and his team do if they become the leaders? That's something I would want to hear. The next aspect was on narcotics. Narcotics is a serious problem in Kenya. I've lived in the coast, and actually I used to teach students who are literally crying in class, crying. And not that they have been beaten, but because they have used drugs. Some of them could leave school, their bags, you think they have books? No, they have drugs. And this is something serious that is happening in the coast. Even when you come to the police officers who are operating in coast, they have no power. They arrive, they are given good vehicles, some people are willing to pay their houses and control their lives only if they'll keep quiet about drugs. If they dare anything, they'll be killed or something, So this is something that Gachagua talked about. Let's listen to it.
Today. And he was telling parents that they are responsible for bad upbringing. When he has appointed ministers who are peddling drugs, they are sitting in his cabinet. When now there is evidence that that minister and his associates are involved in drug trafficking, how does he face parents and accuse them of bad upbringing when his minister, who is his business partner, is involved in drug peddling, cocaine, hard drugs in his country? These are some of the things, Dennis, that got me very tired. And today, in fact, I feel very relieved I'm not part of that government. I don't know how I'll be able now. This week, I would have gone to cabinet after what happened at JKIA. I don't know how I would have gone to sit in that cabinet with that minister when I was in charge of fighting drugs and alcoholism on behalf of government, and then I have to sit with the minister who is facilitating drug trafficking in the country.
You've painted a lot of negativity and negative things that are happening with the current government, and in that there is now the united opposition that is coming forth and saying we want.
All right, so on narcotics again, he came up to say that, and even during today's rally at Machakos, he repeated it. All right, so of course we saw the video at JKIA and the rot happening there, and there was the question of those people who are drug peddling. What is happening? And of course this is a serious problem. By the way, currently the problem of drugs is not even in coast alone. When you go to schools, even up country, like currently even in Trans Nzoia, Kakamega, and all over the places, you will find children using drugs, either cocaine, marijuana, A problem of drugs has even invaded schools, and that is why you see schools are burning all over the place. You know, Litain, go to the neighboring. Yeah, the other day there was a school in Western that was burned down. Those students are taking drugs. Even in girls' schools, I've taught in girls' schools, and girls are taking drugs. They come with water, but that water has marijuana. Some of them carry, some sorts of always inside they place drugs, So these things are happening. And it happens that even when you go to some places, you find garbage. People have turned into garbage. They can't serve, even in production. I saw people complain about giving birth having been a problem in the country. And it's out of drugs, guys. So that was a serious matter he was discussing, and I don't know how they can fight this, And finally, he talked about this.
Not regarding Gachagua, not Uhuru Kenyatta can change what has been decided. And if you decide to change, you lose the people immediately and they become antagonistic towards you. The mountain people have made 3 key decisions. One, that they wake up early in the morning to a man to send William Ruto home for betraying them, misusing them, and mobilizing other Kenyans against them, destroying their businesses and making life miserable for them. That decision has been made. Today, if I made a stupid decision to support William Ruto, I'll go alone to William Ruto. The mountain would abandon me in the morning.
Okay, when he said this also, as a critic, I was looking at the people from Kiambu. I was looking at, we have some politicians like Ndindi Nyoro, not Ndindi Nyoro actually, but I'm just looking at some politicians from that side, and especially Meru discussion that happened recently. And I was asking myself, how true is what Gachagua telling us, on board, I'm just trying to ask. I'm not here to defend anybody, but I'm just asking.
From the US, I had several private meetings with him, and he expressed his desire to join us so that we create the change that we desire for this country. And he expressed his interest to serve as president if we can support him. And we welcomed him, and we had good discussion. And I believe he still remains very committed to that cause. And when he came, he found we had already started the opposition, and we were getting on. And we did brief him where we had reached. And we did...
This was cut short.
They say the mistake they made was to go to a wedding using the vehicle of somebody else. It was a great mistake for the people of the Mount Kenya region to elect William Ruto as president without their political party.
And you are the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And during that period, a lot has happened.
All right, so those were some of the discussions that Gachagua raised, and they become a point of analysis in many, many ways, all right? So away from that, there is something else I saw that I need to talk about before I close the chapter. And the aspect of course, we've talked about ID misuse, drug peddling, KPLC. The aspect of KPLC being undervalued. What the hell is this, The fact that KPLC is being undervalued and sold to an in-law to the president, that's something very shocking. And we saw the other day in the cabinet, people were talking about it, but it was just pulled, ignored. An aspect that was ignored, and the bill was passed. So what is the future of maybe Kenya in relation to that? That is something that we would want to know, because if this is happening, how many other companies will be undervalued, if for any of you has read the story Checkmate from A Silent Song, it is a story showing an undervaluation of methanol company in a situation of, whereby some people are actually using it to enrich themselves at the expense of citizens. And it's something that can affect employment, the currency, and so many other aspects in a country. I don't know. because I look at that and wonder how malicious people can be, even when they are not ready maybe to do direct support. What about these particular political moves? There is another thing that came up about Halwale moving from his party to another party. I don't know how true this is, but there has been such speculation. There has been such speculation. Annabelle, stop touching that calculator, please. Put it on the table. Yeah, so that speculation, I don't know how real it is, but it has been taking a while with Halwale trying to push such a narrative of coming, or rather moving away from the former situation to the current one. So I don't know what impact that will have, but let's just check on something here.
Too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity.
All right, let me just check on something here. I don't know whether there is a specific video to show. Yeah.
Ukiona job description yake ni kuingilia mama Elsi, ni kuniingilia mpaka kwa mzee wangu Halwale kurabanga injinia Muhanda, yaani na kurudi kwenze. Najua mimi ni mama, na mimi ni mama wa miaka mingi. Kuna Halwale kuisa nyesenyanga, badala ya kufanyia watu wa Kakamega kaunti. Na job description yake ni ya Fernandez Baraza. Awachane na mama Elsi Muhanda. Shia hababu baika ya meshiene meshiene. Anatafuta nini kwa baika ya mama? Yeye afanye kazi ya sharika hiyo. Awachane na mama Elsi Muhanda. Hiyo ndio ulifanya Halwale. 2016 ukaongea mambo kwako. Ukanidanganyia maovu. Ulianguka hapo kwangu. Ulianguka. Ungana na mimi Barazane. Na hiyo nafikiri Oparanya amesikia. Oparanya sasa umekuwa Ikolomani jana. Ukawa na bibi. Unatuambia kwamba sasa vile upendi Barasa unaleta mama anaitwa Els. Wewe Oparanya sikia. Watu wa Shinyalu wanatafuta wewe. Wanasema hiyo nyumba yenye umefingilia Elsi Kakamega ametoroka nyumbani, ufunge Elsi arudi kwa bwana yake na watoto nyumbani, wachana nayo kabisa.
Imagine this was a funeral, but it turned into an exchange of accusations between Elsie and Halwale. While Elsie was talking, Halwale was sitting. Now, that was at Eshisiru. There was some funeral there in Lurambi constituency. Then Halwale stood and began again to talk. That was a serious exchange anyway. And of course, currently, Halwale is not in the former party. He's going to vie for position in a different party. So let's get to the last story so that I can prepare something for supper and see what to do. And then come back later. It's politics is a very difficult. Oh my God. So, of course, you understand the anger by Halwale towards Ruto arose long time ago when he felt that he was ignored. And the backlash is going on, a very aggressive backlash, right? All right. So let's get to the last one of this. So, of course, I told you about the KPLC and the valuation, whereby it has been speculated that Ruto is trying to sell KPLC to the in-law from Nigeria. And of course, Okia Mutata has moved to court to stop that selling. How will he make it? I don't know. Let's see.
KPC.
So what are they selling? What are they selling? So why are they trying to privatize KPC and do it as a parastatal when KPC is a limited company under Cap 486 of the laws of Kenya? So it cannot be done just the way they're trying to do. So we're going to have a very, very dirty fight. We're going to go to the courts, and this is a matter we shall fight up to the Supreme Court. And anybody who thinks that they're going to privatize KPC today is dreaming. We are not going to allow that to happen. For some of us who would like to see a new dispensation take place in Kenya, we would like to see KPC negotiating, the Kenya government, instead of selling KPC, should be negotiating with Uganda for whale leaves to take that KPC to Kampala, negotiate with Rwanda and Burundi and those countries and Congo, take KPC up to Goma, so that we can dominate this market, we can provide service in hydrocarbons, not giving it to private individuals.
If you look at this decision by...
Hey, that's the shenanigans in the streets. So let's end here. We'll come back later for maybe more discussions if we get time. So thank you. Bye-bye.